welcome to this edition of Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal de International. I'm called Morinzi. We'll begin with our top stories. And hundreds of families, residents, and body search and neighborhood in Douala 2 subdivision took to the streets today to protest what they have described as forceful eviction from their land. And with just 3 months to the start of the African Nations Cup in Cameroon, streets and markets in the city of Douala are filthy. The waste keeps piling as workers of the waste disposal company Hizakam are on strike to demand 3 months of unpaid salaries. And Cameroon's Minister of Public Health has postponed the third round of vaccination campaign against COVID-19. It has been pushed from October to begin between November between the 17th to the 21st of November 2021. And members of the local organizing committee of Total Energy African Cup of Nations have been tasked to catapult preparations to meet CAF's expectations for the football event. Those were major story details right ahead.
Canal International.
Good evening once more. Just 3 months to the start of the African Cup of Nations in Cameroon, the streets and markets in Cameroon's economic city Douala are dirty. The waste keeps piling as workers of the waste disposal company Hizakam are on strike to demand for 3 months of unpaid salary. Gladys Ambodibang in the following story paints a picture of Douala. Her story.
Garbage heaps positioned on some major streets, trash cans overflowing with household waste, markets littered with filth, and gutters blocked by waste washed away by running water when it rains. This is a picture of some major streets and markets in Cameroon's economic city, Douala, just a few months to the start of the African Cup of Nations that Cameroon will host. Honestly, it is terrible. 3 months to the start of the African Nations Cup. Streets are filled with garbage. We heard workers of Hizakam are on strike for 3 months unpaid salaries. Our town is not expected to be this dirty when visitors come in. Instead of government officials to preoccupy themselves with this, they have all turned their attention on COVID-19. Whereas with this field, the population's health is equally affected. Hizakam is not doing its job. The field is toxic. Actually, we cannot feed here normally because of the smell. At Ancien Troisième precisely, the major street is almost blocked with waste affecting circulation and even businesses. This garbage heap is affecting our businesses. We are unable to sell normally. It blocks the road and causes traffic, sending away our customers. We are unable to breathe well as a result of the nauseating smell. Workers of the company in charge of waste disposal, Hizakam, have been on strike for a couple of days over 3 months unpaid salaries and abusive sacking. Halting their activities has led to the current state of the city of Douala.
And we stay with sports news. Members of the local organizing committee of the Total Energy African Cup of Nations have been tasked to catapult preparations to meet CAF's expectation for the football events. The assignment reminded them this Wednesday during an evaluation meeting at the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education. Haisencha has the rest of the story.
Barely 74 hours to the kickoff of the Total Energy's African Cup of Nations in Cameroon. The different technical commissions are once again challenged to speed up preparations at the different AFCON sites.
The minister asked all the technical commission to mostly present difficulties, most of them were instructed to revise their plan of action and activities. So I think they've done so. They're now to present to the president of COCAN, who is the Minister of Sport, the few difficulties so that they can be trashed out by the hierarchy.
The COCAN evaluation meeting, which comes few days after the signing of the framework agreement between Cameroon and the Confederation of African Football, CAF, cementing the hosting rights, round up of the President's fact-finding mission at the different sites, led by the Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo. COCAN President Narcisse Mwele-Kombi says it is time to dot all the I's and cut the T's ahead of the African Football Jamboree.
The good story is that the opening and the closing ceremony have been validated by CAF and FIFA. You know, that really gives us pressure for the other 10 CAF commissions to do everything to meet up. If the opening ceremony and the closing ceremony are already validated, then what are the other 10 CAF commissions supposed to do? They need to hasten up and get up early in the morning so that they can satisfy the organization of this tournament.
Minister Mwele-Kombi equally urges the stakeholders and Cameroonians at large to deploy optimum collaboration and strive to perfect all elements before the next CAF inspection visit in November.
And the head coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon has published a list of 32 pre-selected players to take part in the 2 World Cup qualifying matches against Malawi and Cote d'Ivoire. Haisancha went through the list and highlights the major comebacks and key absences. His story.
A highly competitive list made up of 5 goalkeepers, 10 defenders, 7 midfielders and 10 attackers. Their biggest comeback into the Lions' den is definitely that of goalkeeper Andre Onana, Ajax of Amsterdam goal maestro, who has been completely absent in both club and country football for 9 months following FIFA suspension. Usual team animator Montpellier left back Oyongo Bitolo is also returning to the squad after a considerable period of absence. Another striker who features in the pre-selected list of head coach Antonio Conceição da Silva is Landry Kana Tawamba, who plays top-flight football for Al Tawan FC of Saudi Arabia. The goal poacher was equally absent in the previous expeditions of the Indomitable Lions. The remarkable absence of centre defender Harold Mukudi, not part of the 32-man list, obviously because of his current injury situation, and the likes of Njie Clinton, Dynamo Moscow striker, is yet to regain favour in the eyes of Antonio Conceição. The final selected list of players after camping will take on Malawi in Johannesburg, South Africa on November 11th and the Elephants of the Ivory Coast at the Japoma Stadium in Douala. All matches to cement the first phase of the 2022 World Cup qualifiers.
Away from sports news, hundreds of families are residents at Boadi Serge neighborhood in the Douala 2 subdivision took to the streets today to protest what they have described as forceful eviction from their land. The brandished placards demonstrating their anger against the 2 accused persons of attempting to evict them from an area they have been occupying for years now. The aggrieved population of Boadi Serge have called on government to rescue them for what they term intimidation. Let's get the reaction.
There is a group of people who have gathered themselves and they have come here to say that what they say is owned by them, that they have already land titles of this area where you see this population. As you see, they are living here like this, they are stranded. So as it shows now, we have decided to block ourselves to come out with a message to let you know maybe you are not aware that we are crying. So we are pleading with you, use us as your children and not us as our father. We have left from Bamenda, from North, from Bakusan, Yaoundé and the entire environment of your country to come and assemble here because you require. You said that we should come here in the year around that 2012, that we should come and develop this environment because this is where we can situate ourselves. So we have finally come here and develop the environment, and some people see the environment now they have come and started saying that they want to send us out and title the place. We talk to them. If it is the government that is coming to remove us, because we know the names of the government, we know the hospital, the brigade, the military court, and other names of the government that are the ministry using the Cameroon to lead people.
One of the inhabitants reacting there, and from what the search will take you to Makepe Misoke, identified as one of the rig zones in the Douala 5 council area. Inhabitants continue to express the fear of the unknown after last week's floods that killed one. They continue to point accusing fingers at the authorities for neglecting the project for the construction of a good drainage system. The first assistant mayor for the Douala 5 council area on his part unveils a giant project in the area in the nearest future. The details in the following story.
Few days after heavy rains caused havoc at Makepe Misoke in the Douala 5 council area, causing the collapse of a bridge and sweeping an 18-year-old boy on his path, inhabitants remain devastated. The broken bridge has been repaired, but floods remain endemic in the area. They cry out. We are disturbed. It keeps aggravating. Quarterheads are also contributing to the state of affairs by implanting businesses on pathways, thus blocking the construction of gutters and waterways. Although we could not lay hands on the quarterheads, we struggle to take this nasty path into the neighborhood, completely muddy and filthy. As we moved further, we discovered some houses are gradually sinking. Even bags of sand placed all around seems not to be playing the magic anymore. It is easier to detect water level from the houses. Some occupants have chosen to cohabit with water. A typical example is this. If the area is properly canalized, then Makepe Misoke will have no problem. Plank business seems to be the new trend in the neighborhoods, but to the detriment of others. At the Douala 5 council area, the first assistant mayor, Jean-Albert Bobongi, unravels a plan backed by the Association of Mayors of Africa and France, whose priority is sustainable development of cities. And for this plan to yield fruits, Jean-Albert Bobongi talks of an eventual demolition of the population in 2022, with zones like Lenzi and Gombe to serve as relocation sites. Meantime, the population continue to point accusing fingers at authorities for neglecting the project for the construction of good drainage system in Cameroon's economic city, Douala.
And Cameroon's Minister of Public Health has postponed the third round of vaccination campaign against COVID-19 throughout the national territory. Initially planned for the 27th to 31 October 2020, the campaign will now hold from the 17th to November 21, 2021 throughout the national territory. The vaccination campaign targets persons aged between 18 years and above, particularly health personnel and individuals living with underlying health conditions. The Minister of Public Health further reassures the population that despite the postponement of the third round of vaccination campaign against COVID-19 continue. Also, vaccination services against COVID-19 continue on daily basis in the accredited vaccination centers in all 191 health districts of the country. The liters of fuel have been seized in Down Beach, and close to 500 kilograms of biodegradable plastic papers intercepted in a vehicle along the Tiko-Douala highway. The goods were seized in two separate operations in Fako Division in the southwest region of Cameroon. Ines Ondwambala completes the story.
Here we are in Down Beach, a vicinity in the seaside resort city of Limbe. A boat from neighboring Nigeria has just landed. On board, a huge quantity of fuel. Suspected owners are being transporting the contraband goods to a warehouse in Dockyard. Alerted, custom officials in the southwest region arrived at the scene and seized the over 5,000 liters of fuel which were about being sold in the local markets. The fraudulent goods seized by custom is handed to officials of the Southwest Regional Delegation of Water and Energy for testing and auction sale. This dockyard operation comes barely few hours after element of the Mobile Custom Brigades unit in Limbe intercepted 7 bales of non-biodegradable papers in Mundika. It was during a routine control at the Mundeka checkpoint that the over 450 kilograms of non-biodegradable papers fell in the dragnet of custom officials. In this car, which left Limbe and Hutsu Douala. The goods have been kept in the custom warehouse in Limbe while investigations continue.
And the Russian Ministry of Defense have confirmed their navy was active in the rescue of a merchant container in the Gulf of Guinea on October 25, 2021. MSC Lucia is a container ship sailing under the flag of Panama. Kejan Henry Atembe completes our story.
The Russian Ministry of Defense has confirmed their navy was active in the rescue of a merchant container on the Gulf of Guinea on October 25, 2021. MSC Lucia is a container ship sailing under the flag of Panama. The container left Togo, where it was on transit, when pirates attacked with speedboats and climbed on board. In response to a distress signal from a UK operation center, the Russians activated their military aircraft with Russian Marines on board. Upon seeing the helicopters approaching, the pirates fled the vessels and got into a fast boat and left. In a statement issued, MSC Lucia expressed gratitude to the UK Operations Distress Center, the International Maritime Bureau Piracy Center, the Russians and the Italian Navy for the remarkable cooperation that led to the rescue of the crew members, saying all of the crew members who were on board are safe. According to the latest figures from the International Maritime Bureau, the Gulf of Guinea accounts for nearly half of all reported piracy incidents in the first 3 months of 2021 and has recorded 38 incidents.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast on Canal the International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly 7:50. This never Senkan with Alain Gislen Kanga. But coming up next is the brief with Buban Gomna for me. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. Good night.